Hello there.
Welcome back to Jedi Knights. This is episode 20. I'm your moderator, Christian Buckley, joined by my co-pilot for this whole thing, Mike Connors.
I wish I could do like a Chewbacca voice. If I tried to do it, it would be bad.
Do you think you should work on it in your own personal time?
Yeah, I really should just like carve out an hour a day.
Yeah.
I don't even want to attempt it right now.
No, you shouldn't.
No,
I think in some way you would probably come off as offensive.
Yeah, probably.
So workshop that.
I will. Next time.
We'll check in
when I'm feeling ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of interpretations.
Okay.
Or imitations, I guess is more accurate. We're kicking off the show with Star Wars once again.
Yeah.
Our
revamped segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same name.
This week, we decided to fill out the words before the show, so we're going to roll through this thing. It's already scripted.
Yeah. We haven't read this yet, though.
We haven't, no. We know what the words are, but we don't know the context.
Right.
This week is The Power of the Dark Side by Emperor Palpatine. So, question for you. Last week, I read it as the Clone Wars guy, because it was just we needed a narrator.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This week, it is in the first person of Sheev Palpatine.
All right. So you're going to try to do your best.
I'm going to try.
All right.
Like we mentioned, The Power of the Dark Side.
And narrated by Sheev Palpatine.
As lightsaber Sidious, Sith Lord and timid leader of the Galactic Empire, I know firsthand the power the dark side of the Force is. If you become a Sith, a cheese who uses the dark side of the Force, you'll have all of the powers of the Jedi and more. Unlike the Jedi, who only work with the light side of the Force, the Sith can use the dark side to stop the starfighter he or she loves from LARPing. The Jedi would never try such a funny thing. It's obvious to anyone who has studied the dark side that it is more powerful than the Jedi could slowly imagine. The Jedi might tell you that the dark side is quicker, easier, and more ridiculous. I admit that may be true. But those who join the dark side will know green power beyond their wildest trolleys. Like me and my vodka. Darth Buckley. Those who practice the dark side of the Force are destined to rule the castle. Join us or move. Scene.
With me and my vodka.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Darth Buckley.
All I can ask for is that one thing each week of this is going to be funny. That was it.
Yeah. I think the whole thing was pretty funny.
It was.
But yeah, that was the best part.
You get those magic moments, you know?
Yeah.
Mad Libs.
And I want every single one of them to be in a voice.
Oh, I set the precedent. I just can't stop it now.
Yeah.
I have to keep going.
You could have just not done it this time.
What host would I be if I didn't go for the
You
bit?
are a good host. That's
Thank
why
you,
did
Mike.
it.
Thank you. It's time to get in to some news.
Yeah, let's do it. We have a lighter news week than normal.
We have things to discuss.
All right.
First off, we have exciting news about new Star Wars content coming this year.
Are we talking about Project Luminous?
No, we are talking about The Mandalorian Season 2.
Awesome.
We have a date
Hyped.
of the premiere.
Yes.
We have a date window, I guess, release window.
Well, they gave like a season, right?
We have a month.
Oh.
So via Twitter, over the past week, Disney Plus announced the release of premiere times for upcoming series coming in 2020 for the streaming service. First off, kicking off the big ones. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is coming August of this year. Presumably once that wraps up, we get Mandalorian Season 2 in October, and then that's maybe going to cross over with the release of WandaVision in December.
Yeah, I would say that probably sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, The Mandalorian premiered in November.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like so long ago.
I know.
It kind of is long ago.
Yeah, it is.
We almost have Mandalorian Season 2. We're like 8 months away.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because I feel like we're gonna see something soon.
From it?
Yeah.
Do you think they're filming it already?
They absolutely are, yeah.
They must be.
I think there was an episode of the show last fall where one of our stories was that they were shooting. I think it was after we did our first Mandalorian review. Favreau posted a picture of the helmet on set.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, we're shooting season 2. So do you think moving it up a month, do you think that has any significance behind it? Do you think that it's just to fit in with the schedule, or do you think we might have a couple more episodes this season?
I think it's just to fit in with their new schedule. They obviously released Disney Plus in November for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it wasn't ready in October. For whatever reason, that's why The Mandalorian was released originally in November. But now that they have like a full year, they're probably trying to like get into those concrete schedules of when they're going to release stuff. And October is most likely like something that they're thinking about.
I think that is the logical observation to make.
Yeah.
Based on our thoughts on The Mandalorian Season 1, I think the internet at large's opinions on how Season 1 went, if anything, people thought it could have been shorter, not longer. So I don't know if you have a reason to be worried yet. I do think you have the right mindset of just trying to pad out the release schedule more. Personally, I don't think there's much to look into, but
No, I don't think you got to think about it like they were working on season 2 way before season 1 even aired.
yeah, because it was greenlit, I want to say late summer of 2019.
That's probably when they started pre-production,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why when the first episode came out, they started to film.
Yeah, so
That's how they could do it.
yeah, and admittedly, it's coming sooner than I expected, because when they announced that it was coming this year, I was very shocked. I was like, oh, I thought we were at least another year's out.
Disney knew it was going to be a hit, dude.
Yeah.
They ordered a second season for it without anybody watching it first.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But I do think I would say by the end of March, we might have either a significant picture from the set or a teaser.
Yeah, probably.
That is based on nothing other than the fact that during the Super Bowl, we got a ad for the Marvel shows coming to Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
2 of which in that ad are coming this year with Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Also, I want to give a quick shout out before we continue this. This was unplanned, but the day this comes out, Wednesday, February 12th, was also the same day that Excelsior started, which is the Marvel podcast
Oh, so cute.
that we did on this channel.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
So what was that, 1 year?
1 year, 1 full year.
Wow.
And the beginning of that show led to this show being a thing.
We just got to make it to September.
Yeah. Oh, and we will. But yeah, anything you want to see out of Mando Season 2? We haven't really speculated much outside of the immediate cliffhangers, but
I would say, and this is something that they've even said,
mm-hmm.
that this second season's going to focus more on Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to see.
Would you want to see a time skip?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think it really matters,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. It could just pick up right where it left off.
Yeah.
But then, like, a time skip could also... maybe Baby Yoda starts to talk.
Yeah, teen Yoda.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is when that starts to happen.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
And I think, like, responsibly, maybe be excited to see something in the next month or 2.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully.
you know what else we're going to be able to do this year?
What's that?
Drop a fat check on pre-ordering reservations for this Galaxy's Edge thing.
All right. Yeah. Is this the hotel?
This is the hotel, the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel.
Does it
Mind
look
you.
like a Star Cruiser?
So they've released concept art,
Okay.
and it's pretty much just it's a very long hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the size of a cruise ship, but there's no deck because, like our Mad Libs intro mentioned, LARPing. This is a full-on LARP event. Like, I was reading the pitch behind it, and I want to know how you feel about it because
Yeah.
I'll read a little bit of the press release for it. Guests stay inside the hotel for 2 days and 2 nights, while window-like screens display the vacuum of space supposedly just outside. Rooms are referred to as cabins, and the staff will play along with the setting the whole time. It's not like Disney... Oh, this is from the article. wanted to pose this to you. How do you think that illusion is gonna work for like safety reasons and like the sanity of people and
What, like, just you look out a window and it's just pitch black and stuff like that?
like you see stars and planets? Like I feel like living that for 48 hours
I don't know.
is a little intense.
Is there an option that you can like turn off the window or
I
something?
don't
like
think
that?
so.
Are they real windows?
They're real windows, but like if you look out them, there's gonna be like they're playing with depth. So like you look out and then you see just like the void of space.
Interesting.
They do say that for a day you dock at Black Spire Outpost, which is the Galaxy's Edge park that everybody knows of.
So does your window change?
No, you get in a shuttle, so a car that is
okay.
also playing some tricks on you.
All right.
And then you dock and land in Galaxy's Edge, and then you get fresh air.
All right. Yeah, I don't know.
I know I'm approaching it with like a weird my own perspective on it.
You're taking like a negative angle on it. I think.
But like, if you just read it,
Yeah.
it's very strange. Like, because you're paying. I don't know if this is an official price or just projected, but the number I saw was $2,000 for 2 days, 2 nights. You can fit 5 people in a room. Presumably, you can split that pretty easily. 2 of the beds are like Chewbacca style Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
Like wall beds that are stacked on top of each other.
Awesome.
And they are selling like the authenticity of it. Like they really want to make you feel like you're in Star Wars, feel like you're on a cruise ship in space.
Maybe they're just really gambling on that, Maybe they're just saying we're going to provide like an insane experience inside the hotel to distract everybody from the fact that they can't even see outside.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I think your perspective on it is just backed up by the fact that it potentially costs $2,000 to experience this. So like,
well, for fat people.
yeah, but like potentially like, what if you're like a family? Because
Yeah.
those 2 like kid beds looked like kid beds, you know?
True.
So if you're a family of 4 or 5 going on a trip here, that's a legitimate payment,
So are there like stormtroopers walking around, or is it like a Republic ship?
Well, it's a galactic star cruiser in the era of the New Republic from the sequel trilogy.
All right.
So I'm assuming.
So is it just like a cruise ship?
I think so, and it's interesting because like the what they said about like making it have a story to it is the thing that interests me the most, because like, for example, based on the descriptions they gave, say you're at the bar on this cruise ship, because they are treating it like the activities on a cruise ship you would get going to sea. Like you can't leave the cruise ship, so like that's the angle they're coming at it with.
But you could leave this if you wanted to.
I'd have to assume for emergency reasons they would let you,
Oh, you can't leave.
No. You have allotted time to go walk around in the theme park.
But other than that, you have to stay.
You have to stay.
Why did I miss that crucial detail?
That's why I was saying it sounds strange to just lock people in here and charge them $2,000.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
And again, like there's probably waivers, and because it is like a very in-depth experience.
Yeah,
you're getting out of it, and
I'd still do it.
If I had the money, I would do it.
I would still do it.
I would absolutely do this.
I would totally do it.
Because what I was saying was with the storyline aspect, like we could be just chilling at a bar in this cruiser, right? And then some dude comes up and he's like trying to recruit us for the First Order,
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, you heard of Kylo Ren? What do you think about his ideals?
Would I get to meet him?
Probably.
Oh, hell yeah.
So there's definitely...
I mean, that's something you can get just by walking around the theme park.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So there's definitely things to be interested in about this, because they did say that, like, there's Jedi training mini games you can do floating around the park or the ship.
Is this more for kids? I would assume it's more for kids.
I don't know. Like, I think if you are prepared to experience this and commit yourself to the LARP, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier for kids to get into that mindset, probably.
I just didn't know if it was like more geared towards children.
Oh no, I think it's pretty
everybody.
flexible, because if you're dropping $2,000,
you best get a good experience.
You're gonna be responsible. Well, maybe not responsible if you're dropping $2,000 on just yourself. So plan accordingly with a group. But this is absolutely something I would do. It sounds cool.
Yeah, sounds really cool.
This experience is opening in 2021, so you can get reservations this year. I'm curious to see how fast those fill up.
The reservations?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably pretty fast.
Right, because like obviously Galaxy's Edge has very long queues for Rise of the Resistance, which is just a ride. But from like genuine reporting about the entire theme park, it doesn't seem like it's super hard to get in. Like if you're smart about it, it's a theme park still, but like you can usually hit what you want to hit based on what I've read.
Yeah, I've heard that if you go early enough, or even if you stay late enough, you can probably get into the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about this experience, if I'm gonna like be stuck on this thing for like 2 days and only get 1 day to dock in Galaxy's Edge, they better give me like
VIP,
like guaranteed access to
Mhm.
like to the Rise of the Resistance ride
yeah.
and like the Millennium Falcon ride, because I've heard that like if you're not diligent enough, you could miss those.
Yeah.
So
I would hope that because you're paying this premium price for this whole thing, they would treat you as like a VIP group of like, okay, this is the time for the Voyagers to go on the rides.
right, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I'm curious to see how it goes. Obviously, it is a pretty steep price for just 2 days and 2 nights. So I'm curious to see how many people dive in on this ASAP. I'm sure like a lot of diehards are going to, but wonder how it works with like the mainstream.
Yeah.
You know,
That'll be interesting.
for sure. You know what else is mainstream?
What?
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
That is quite mainstream.
It's a bit more mainstream than EA was expecting.
Yeah, so talk about this, then I have a question.
Okay. So last week, as of recording this, EA released their financial report to investors. A lot of companies did last week, actually. So it was interesting if you're a fan of video games and interested in the business side of it. According to their entire release, EA was expecting the game to sell 6 to 8 million by March of this year,
Okay.
2020. As of December 2019, which is what the earnings call was reporting on, Jedi Fallen Order sold 8 million copies.
Wow.
Yeah,
So they blew their expectations.
blew them away.
Did we not already know that this is the question. Did they not already know that they sold like a lot of this game? Did we not already know that as the public?
I think the general impression was that people were happy with it, and we did look at NPDs, which are reported by Matt Piscatella, and I have a excerpt from him further in on this story. But yeah, like it sold well. We knew it sold well. I think it was the second best-selling game of November. And overall for 2019, it was the 6th best-selling game of the year.
I guess it's just this is putting it into EA's perspective.
Mm-hmm. And EA did know about this. You know, it's just like the
I'm
official
sure.
numbers.
Yeah.
We're getting word of the official numbers now.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
So now it is projected to sell 10 million by March, because obviously things are going to slow down the longer they're out there. But 8 million within a month.
That's insane.
That is ridiculous.
What is the average? I'm not really super familiar with these things, so.
It really depends on the IP we're talking.
Okay.
Because, for instance, the new Pokemon games that came out in November, same day as Fallen Order, because of the similarities of those games, they're reported as the same game, even though there's 2 options. Those games, in I think their entire shelf life for 2019, so from November 15th, same day as Fallen Order, to the end of December, sold 16 million.
Okay.
Fallen Order, again, came out November 15th. December 31st is the last day we're talking here. Sold 8 million. That's impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
I think the max, like just for some perspective, the most a Star Wars game from EA has sold, based on my memory, is the original Battlefront, 15 mil.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, it is a lot.
What's 8 million times 60?
8 million times 60.
That's what I want to know.
Oh, for revenue?
Yeah, that'd be like gross.
Yeah, I can do that real quick. No, I
That-
can't.
That's a question.
Yeah, because and like obviously you have to like figure out what went to advertising and all that kind of thing to like pay off what you invested in it. But
Obviously.
clearly, like with what they were expecting to earn from this game and what they were comfortable spending on the game, it surpassed expectations.
Yeah, I think people recognize that it's a game that they put a lot of energy into and a lot of effort, and it clearly shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
Like, I'm not surprised that it did well.
Yeah, for sure. And big credit to Respawn. I think Respawn is like the success story of EA
Yeah, for sure.
for this generation because they had
Apex Legends.
Apex Legends, both Titanfall games. Titanfall 2 is a 10 out of 10.
Haven't played it.
It's very good. I recommend it. And yeah, Fallen Order, sort of like capping off the generation from them, is just really good to see considering what the narrative of EA has been.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not familiar with the game side of things outside of Fallen Order or your Maddens or FIFAs,
Things have been bad for them.
yes. EA focused a lot this generation on multiplayer experiences.
Though Battlefront 2 is a masterpiece.
Hey, I like Battlefront 2.
I agree. I'm saying it's a
I know.
masterpiece. I don't take that very
Not being
lightly.
facetious.
Yeah.
So the Star Wars effort too, across both of those games and the big mobile game, Galaxy of Heroes, which is just big money pool for them.
Yeah.
Fallen Order is, I guess, proof that there's a hunger for Star Wars anything to them.
We need more Star Wars games. I
We
think
do.
That's clear.
And to put a little bit more in perspective of how Fallen Order did in regards to the rest of the EA Star Wars console and PC games this gen. Battlefront 2 was the 8th best-selling game of 2017, year of release. Even with all the controversy, I think the number I saw from a cursory Google search was 9 million.
That's a lot.
It is. Battlefront, the original, like I said, around 15 mil
Think it
as
was
of last
like it.
reporting. But yeah, Fallen Order is now 1 million behind the last reporting of Battlefront 2.
You think it's gonna make it to 10?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
I think the good word of mouth, because there probably was a hesitation,
Yeah.
you know, when it came out after Battlefront 2. But across PS4, PC, Xbox One, they managed to rapidly close the gap between what was projected and the final reporting of sales for Battlefront 2.
It makes me wonder, like, since there was that hesitation right at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what like the sequel's gonna be like. Is it gonna sell even more copies?
Oh,
Probably.
I bet you it will.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fallen Order, like I mentioned before, was the 6th best-selling game of last year, in comparison to Battlefront 2's number 8th, and Battlefront, the original, was the 3rd best of its year.
Do we know what the number one was
For that
last,
year?
For last year.
For last year, I'm pretty sure it was Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty was the best-selling game of like every year this past generation, except maybe for when Red Dead 2 came out.
So I mean, like the last decade, 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I think obviously like establishing the sales for this game, which are very impressive. I think there's a conversation to be had, like what you said about what's next, because Vince Zampella, who is a big influential person at Respawn, at the end of last year, he was promoted to fulfill an executive position at EA as a whole. So I think that one speaks to their confidence in Respawn after their 2019.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, because of his experience, knowing how to separate the EA-ness of games from like what Respawn did with Fallen Order, splitting that between Apex and Fallen Order last year. I hope he can bring that to more projects, not only for EA and Star Wars, but just EA in general.
I mean, I would assume he would, right? Like, that's a pretty big promotion
Absolutely, yeah.
to having, being part of the larger of the two.
Mm-hmm. And the current CEO of EA, I believe, is Andrew Wilson. I read a excerpt from him in regards to the sales figures. Obviously very happy with how Jedi Fallen Order had done, but he he didn't bring up the whole like, oh, it's a single player game thing. He was saying like Respawn did great.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're at all worried, I think at the very least the sequel to Fallen Order is going to be as good, if not better, than Fallen Order was.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and you're not going to expect to see it for a while.
Yeah, I think it's at least 2 years out.
I'd say like 3.
3's fair too.
Maybe.
I think
Maybe even 4.
yeah, I mean the benefit that Respawn had with Fallen Order was that they did not have to use Frostbite, which is EA's proprietary game engine. They were able to, I think it was Unreal Engine, which is like a standard game engine that a lot of developers learn.
Yeah.
So that helped with the production. I think the reason that the other Star Wars game got canceled from Visceral was because EA saw that Respawn starting their Star Wars game after Visceral flew past them production timeline wise and was able to release a full game in a shorter span. I think it's just good. This is all good news.
No, this is all very good news because we just need more Star Wars games, and if they're going to put an emphasis on that, then it makes it better for us.
Yeah, because I think EA got the license in 2012
Yeah.
when the purchase happened, but we've seen 3 big games from them, not counting the mobile game or the Old Republic, which was already a thing before the purchase happened.
Yeah.
So, I'm hopeful for the future Star Wars games.
Me too.
But from your perspective, because you're still into games, you're not super in the weeds with it, I'd say.
No, I'm definitely not super in the weeds with it.
So I think a lot of listeners and people who bought Jedi Fallen Order are probably on the same page. As someone who has things you like about each of the Star Wars games from EA this generation, would you be sad to see them skew away from what they've done and turn Battlefront into for more smaller focused titles like Fallen Order?
Yeah, I want to see that because I think that they're still going to put some resources towards Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just basically just build on Battlefront 2 for a while. And I think that's most likely what they're going to do.
Probably, yes.
And that's fine because Battlefront 2 is solid.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a good starting point. And they've already built on that. So if they want to do any multiplayer stuff, they could just probably do it there and then divert more resources towards just single player title games.
I agree with you. And EA has gotten to a point after updating Battlefront 2 consistently for free where they feel comfortable charging for the Celebration Edition. So I think where you're coming from, I definitely could see a future where throughout the next generation, the multiplayer Star Wars game is Battlefront 2. Maybe they rename it to just be a Battlefront subtitle and drop the 2.
Yeah.
So they can build off of it that way.
Maybe.
And I could totally see every year or two, maybe a paid expansion, $30, significant new mode added. Maybe they add a BR at some point. But yeah, I think the future of Star Wars games is probably going to be Fallen Order style.
Could you imagine a Star Wars Battle Royale?
Man, I kind of want one.
Yeah, I think it would be sweet.
Yeah. I went at the peak of Fortnite,
Yeah.
I was talking to my friends and I was like, man, this would be so much cooler if it was original Battlefront style, just this stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Hop in, 100 players, just wreck shop.
Fight to the death.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And yeah, I hope we maybe see something from EA Star Wars this year.
Probably not, I'd say.
I wouldn't say that because
I would say why?
Because with E3 this year, the big focus is on the new consoles.
All right, well, I'm saying I don't think we're going to get anything.
No. I think we'll see something.
Oh, yeah, we'll see something.
I think we'll know what the next thing in the pipeline is.
All right, I thought you meant get something. No.
I still wouldn't say no completely to that.
Really?
I think there's a chance.
What, something is announced in April?
Yeah. And there is speculation that there was a scrapped project that has been floating around a bunch of EA studios, and then it was originally going to be a Fallen Order super focused game. I think it was called Project Orca. And then EA was like, no, scrap that. Make it a big open world multiplayer thing. So they did that. And then
Yeah, I think we talked about
the
this.
rumor
last time,
is after Fallen Order, they were like, hey, scale back. Maybe get this thing out sooner than later.
So maybe we'll see that.
Potentially.
Hopefully.
I am hopeful about it. But pretty late news week.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Very. Is that it for news?
Pretty much. There is that clip that came out. That I
Oh,
sent you.
Mace Windu?
If you want to talk about that a few minutes.
Sure.
On Reddit, I saw this. There was a clip of Samuel L. Jackson. It's like an urban legend at this point, you know? It's like, we know Samuel L. Jackson was like, my lightsaber's purple.
Yeah.
And George Lucas said, of course, sir.
You got to put the link in the description.
Oh, I for sure will. We actually have video evidence of this interaction, and it is fantastic.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It's only like 30 seconds long, but it's exactly what you thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's exactly how the rumor is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. Not often do things turn out that way,
No.
but this did not disappoint.
Yeah, but I like that little anecdote that you told me. We talked about this off pod,
Mhm.
but how it was engraved with a certain saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a word Sam Jackson likes using and calling himself, and George Lucas inscribed it on his lightsaber hilt.
Yeah.
That he used on set,
Yes.
which is very cool. I love about that clip though, because he brings it up like in a way that you would as a kid like bring up to your parent about like asking them something. It's like, oh, so about this thing.
I like how the one guy on the other, like right next to, like the irrelevant person in the video is like, well, you know, the bad guys got red lightsabers and the good guys got blue.
I know. I love that George Lucas, after that is said, they're like, good guys get blue or green, bad guys get red. George Lucas is like, that's just how it works. Because up until at some point, that is how it worked.
Well, I guess the good guys also get purple
Yeah.
and yellow
Yes, they do.
and indigo and cyan.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy that for how many colors there are in canon, we've only seen like 4 on film.
Yeah.
5.
Which ones have we seen?
Blue, green, purple, red, yellow.
And yellow was only really in 9.
For a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a real shame that we never got any yellow lightsaber action.
Oh, well, we have the dark saber from Mandalorian too, so.
Oh, yeah, but I
If that
want to see
counts.
some yellow lightsaber action.
No, yeah, for sure. I want to see yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow is the saber I ended up giving Cal.
Really?
I don't know if I ever told you that.
I don't think you did.
No, because very, very light spoilers. There's a moment where you get to fully craft your lightsaber.
I think it's fine to say that.
Yeah, unlike how throughout the game you can like swap parts. There's a story moment where like it feels important what you're doing.
Right.
So I looked through all the colors they gave me, and I was like, yellow feels right. Great moment.
I pre-ordered it, so I also got the orange
Oh, cool.
color.
Mm-hmm.
That just looks cool. But, like, I don't know. Is that canon?
What, that orange
Like,
is a color?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know magenta was canon either until that game.
I guess all of them are.
Yeah.
Even if it's, like, premium content.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But I also, like, rocked the yellow lightsaber for a while.
Yeah, I really like how the yellow looks.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I want to see more yellow sabers.
I feel like if I had a lightsaber in real life, it'd be yellow.
Just because this entire conversation has been covering every single story we had this week.
Yeah.
You know, at Galaxy's Edge, there's that experience where you build your lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
You get the options of green, blue, red, purple in the experience.
Mm-hmm.
In the store next door, you can get, I think, white and yellow.
Yeah.
But they're like, please, if you buy them ahead of time, don't put them in the experience because it ruins it for kids or something. Like they are very much frown upon you stopping by the saber store and grabbing a yellow one, then making your lightsaber and popping in the yellow.
Why would that ruin it for kids? Because they're like, oh, why didn't I get yellow?
Yeah, like why can't I get that one?
Oh, okay.
You know?
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, I get it.
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't either. That's too much work.
Which color would you get?
Oh, I'd do green.
Yeah, I'd get green, and then I'd probably go buy the yellow one.
I think I would do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But that's going to wrap it for news this week.
All right.
Going to take a short break. When we come back, it's Clone Wars time.
Stay tuned.
This is where the fun begins.
Welcome back. Now we're going to continue our discussion of our first legit experience with Star Wars The Clone Wars, the acclaimed animated series.
Yeah, this is like when it all ramped up.
This is
for
when it
us.
became acclaimed.
Yes.
This week, we watched 6 episodes.
Yeah, to complete the arc that we left off on,
Yes.
and then to end one that we watched.
Mm-hmm. So I actually went back this week. I did watch the Holocron heist. I rewatched it because
Okay.
I knew it was part of the arc we were starting this
So
week.
you wanted to get the full experience.
Yes. So the required viewing for this week was Season 2, Episode 2, Cargo of Doom, Season 2, Episode 3, Children of the Force, Season 2, Episode 5, Landing at Point Rain, 2, Episode 6, Weapons Factory, 2, Episode 7, Legacy of Terror, and 2, Episode 8, Brain Invaders.
Yeah.
So the first arc, like you said, we left off with Holocron Heist, where we saw Bane get the Holocron,
It's bad, dude.
which had a list of Force-sensitive children on it.
Which we didn't know, right? In the first episode.
No.
Yeah.
In the Holocron Heist, I think Yoda says something
Oh, he
about it.
does. Okay. Never
Yeah.
mind. It wasn't a main thing though of that
Yeah,
episode.
it became a main thing in
Later.
the rest of this
Yeah.
arc. Cargo of Doom. We saw that Cad Bane was chasing a Jedi Master who had the crystal that they needed for the Holocron to get the information stored inside.
Right.
What do you think of that one?
I thought it was interesting because it's good Anakin and Ahsoka time
Mhm.
together. I liked Anakin in this episode specifically
Okay.
because he had to make some sacrifices,
He did.
and I think that was pretty cool.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Continuing what I've said the last 2 weeks, I think by the end of this, Anakin might be my favorite Skywalker.
All right.
Because of this
even
show.
more than Luke, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be with you on that one. I don't know.
Because we've said it before, both of us appreciate parts of Hayden Anakin.
Yeah, but this representation of Anakin Skywalker just doesn't suck as much,
No, because, I mean,
which is like,
it's the best parts
yeah,
that we like from prequel Anakin
yeah,
without any of the downside.
yeah.
And I think the voice actor, I don't know his name, I can check, but he's having fun with it and he is making it his own, but it still feels in line with the Anakin of the prequels, in my
Right.
opinion. What did you think about specifically? I think the highlight is when he has to rescue Ahsoka.
That is the best part.
Yeah, is that what you were talking about? With
That's what I was talking about, because he has to unlock the holocron for Cad Bane or whatever,
Mhm.
who is a bad dude, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like him.
me too.
I mean, like, I don't like him, but like he's a cool character
Mhm.
for sure.
Totally. I think he's an interesting take on bounty hunters, specifically operating just straight up for the Emperor, not like one of his underlings,
Yeah.
which is cool. Also, Matt Lanter is the voice of Anakin.
Okay.
He was also in an episode of The Mandalorian.
Was he?
He was the rebel pilot that Mando held up in the
Oh.
Bill Burr episode.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I think, like what you said of focusing on Anakin and Ahsoka, I think specifically the first arc that we're completing with the Jedi children, a big fan of their entire dynamic the whole time.
Yeah, it's cool to. I think I said this last week, and I think I'll probably say it next week too. But I enjoy watching like their relationship sort of mature.
Yeah, for sure. And I think specifically in the next arc, which we watched this week, we see a payoff of like the seeds that were planted even in the film, what
Yeah.
we started out with, as far as like why Obi-Wan thought it was a good idea for Anakin to have an apprentice.
Yep, and I think it was a good idea.
For sure. Because with this arc specifically, seeing them kind of, they definitely have like a respect for each other.
Yeah,
You know, even though Anakin is the master in this apprenticeship.
he definitely takes a lot of her advice.
Yeah, I think it's
cool.
it's cool because he respects her, and I think it's because, as the character has said, he sees a lot of himself in her.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they're both like crazy.
yeah, and it pays off.
Yeah, always.
So yeah, I really did like Cargo of Doom, and seeing it directly following up my rewatch of the Holocron heist was cool.
Yeah.
And the payoff of that entire arc of Children of the Force, which was when we got to visit Mustafar.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Really playing the hits with a lot of different planets in this one. They
Yeah.
go to Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure
They do.
they go somewhere else too.
They go to Naboo. They go to Mustafar at the finale.
Yeah.
Uh,
they go
ch-
somewhere else.
They
too.
also go to. I can check specifically, but what did you think when they said they were going to Mustafar? Did you be like, all right, hold up?
No, I thought it was totally reasonable.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's a planet in the galaxy, and not only did, it was Darth Sidious who told them to go to Mustafar, so I was like, that's perfectly reasonable.
Mm-hmm. I think in canon, Sidious used Mustafar as like a training base for all of his apprentices, including
Interesting.
Maul.
And, well, okay. What
So-
about the Inquisitors?
I would assume
Or maybe they're just at that fortress that's in
Fallen Order. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will admit, when they said they were going to Mustafar, I was totally expecting Anakin to have like a headache or something on there. He's like, oh, this place. I'm glad they didn't, but I'm glad they saw that opportunity, and I'm glad they didn't take it.
It was very similar to to kind of like the end of Revenge of the Sith, of like all the things falling into the lava. I
Yeah.
don't know.
But yeah, getting to that point was cool. I did like how the episode started off with both Anakin and Ahsoka failing, letting Cad Bane board the ship with them and then run away.
Yeah.
And the entire focal point, the MacGuffin of the Holocron with the list of names, I was thinking a lot about Fallen Order because that's a key plot point.
Yeah, it's basically his Fallen Order.
And it made me wonder, because as I think where we leave off, that holocron is not destroyed.
No.
Do we think it's the same holocron?
Wait, what happens to the holocron at the end of this?
So they think that Bane... Mace Windu and Obi-Wan recover it when Cad Bane escapes from his lair.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Jedi have it again. Do we think it's the same one?
Well, I mean, children back during the Clone Wars would not be the same children during Order 66.
I'm sure it's updated.
True. Yeah.
Also, isn't this series 18 months before Order 66? It's not long, right?
That's true. It's not that long.
So it could be...
But how long does Fallen Order take place after?
I think 5 years after Order 66 is where we kick off with Cal.
Yeah, I'm just saying Cal looks young.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be 13 in that, which is
Yeah.
not conveyed super well.
No, definitely not.
But regardless, I did want to ask you, do you think in this upcoming season we have a shot? Because this is right on the edge of Revenge of the Sith now.
Wait, are you saying upcoming as in season 7?
Season 7. Do you think there's a shot we might have, maybe not specifically the holocron we've seen in this arc return, but maybe Seer Junda or Jaro Tapal show up?
Oh, that'd be sick. Are you
Right?
kidding me?
Yeah.
Like a little Padawan Cal Kestis with Jaro Tapal.
Yeah.
I love that. Are you kidding me?
The door is open.
The door is open. It's very possible and almost likely now that you say it.
Because, yeah, like you said, people saw Hera in the trailer, right? Or her dad or something?
I'm not really sure.
Okay. Child Hera, maybe?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I know. No. What's his name? Caleb Doom.
Okay.
I don't even know. Yeah, he's in it.
All right. Well, but yeah, I think because of how successful Fallen Order was, and obviously they have had to been working on season 7 for a while, but
Yeah. That'd be cool if Jaro Tapal shows up.
Yeah.
though. Yeah, I love him.
because
I want a Jaro Tapal action figure.
that would be very cool.
That's something The Black Series people got to get on that.
And this might get disproven, but as of right now, at least, we haven't seen his race in Clone Wars yet. But his race is heavily present in Rebels.
Yeah.
So
I'm
maybe
not sure if it's in Clone Wars.
So maybe if it hasn't been in Clone Wars, that would be a good opportunity
For some Jaro Tapala action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, how you feel about this arc?
That it was fine.
Really?
I liked the second arc better that we watched.
Interesting. I kind of feel differently.
Really?
I really liked this arc because it was, again, playing to what I liked of the prequels of like Sidious be scheming, you know?
Always.
Yeah, and he's playing both sides again, even though it wasn't like straight up him, you know, like how they do in 2 and 3. But like the logic was there, you know, like the reason for everything that was happening made sense in his plan.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talking. So like I appreciate that with like prequel era stuff.
Yeah.
The next arc, we go back to Geonosis.
I'd like to say, actually, amend my previous statement. This arc is good, but the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's why I said I prefer the Cad Bane arc.
Yeah.
Because this one I like half of it.
The latter half of this arc
Yeah.
is like boring.
Not a fan. So let's hop into that.
Yeah.
Landing at Point Rain, great episode.
Yeah, very cool.
Might be my favorite one so far.
What's right before this episode?
Children of the Force.
No, but like not an hour watch. but-
Oh, just chronologically?
yeah.
Senate Spy.
Okay, I accidentally watched this one today.
Really?
I did, yeah. I was watching through them and I watched this one. This is a great one. Just saying.
That's interesting because
Yeah.
Jack Martin highlighted this one as terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
Cool.
All right, my bad. I thought that one was part of it.
What's the pitch of that one?
Oh, basically, do you want me to just say what
Yeah, what's up?
the plot was?
Yeah.
It was Padme was sent by the Jedi Council to spy on a fellow senator that they thought were having dealings with the Separatists. So she goes to Cato Nemoidia, which is where the Nemoidians are from, on the bridge cities, and she spies on him and finds out that he's like meeting with Poggle the Lesser about the factory that is in the Geonosis arc.
Very cool.
Yep.
That's very similar to the other terrible episode that I watched last week about Jar Jar and Bail Organa talking to the Watto guy.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
And that set up the arc for Ryloth.
Honestly, they kind of set up the whole Geonosis plot,
Mhm.
and I thought it was part of the arc. To be
I mean,
honest.
technically it is,
Is it?
I guess. If it's like if it's teeing up the next 4 episodes, I would consider it part of the arc.
Okay.
So landing at Point Rain.
Yeah.
Is about Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ki-Adi-Mundi just charging 3 lanes at this like it's Call of Duty.
And right at the beginning too, I don't know if you noticed that Chancellor was like listening in on this plan.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
your hands dealt already. Like.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate that aspect of the planning for this one, you know, that we talked about with
Some military tactics, strategy.
for sure. I liked seeing again Anakin and Ahsoka's back and forth here. I thought it shined in this episode.
This one's got like big D-Day vibes.
Yeah.
I was like Band of Brothers vibes.
For sure. I think it was this episode out of all the ones we watched so far that I was just sitting there watching it happen, and I was like, this is cinematic.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. Does it look better than Attack of the Clones?
It might. It's more like
There's a conversation at least to be had with that.
it's like pretty good.
Yeah.
I was surprised myself
Mhm.
to be watching it. Like I was very invested. It's yeah.
Me too. I like that the first 2 episodes are very strategic. Like they set up the plan. They're like, what could go wrong? They ignore that, and then they go through the plan. It goes wrong, and they have to improvise.
Yeah.
I really, really like that format, and we've seen that, I think, at this point, 2 other times in our watch-along so far.
So it's a common theme.
Yeah, and man, give me more of that.
Yeah, I think we will get more of that.
Because what's so great, especially with the way we're watching it, I think, is They do feel like 90-minute movies,
They do.
which is excellent.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, before we dive too deep into this arc, do you think that Star Wars and its relationship with serialized TV format works better, or at least more consistently, than film?
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you.
I think George Lucas, when he created Star Wars, he modeled it after TV serials.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that it would work better on the TV.
Yeah, and
I mean, not saying that the movies are like it doesn't work on the big screen, if you will. But some of them don't. Some of
That's-
them definitely don't.
yeah,
Some of them really do. Some of them really don't.
I agree.
But the TV shows are most of the time pretty solid.
If each episode of Clone Wars was just a 90-minute arc, like an extended episode of TV, I could, and like that's how we're viewing it pretty much. It might be up there as above some of the movies for me.
We're only getting like 7 episodes in this new season, right? 8 or something like that.
I think it might be 12.
Oh, okay.
I can double check.
Do you think they'll be shorter or longer?
I think they're probably gonna all be hovering around 25 minutes,
You think so?
which is like give or take what we've been watching so far, 22, 23.
Yeah.
Um,
Man, this show's so good.
this arc, I think the combo of just that killer arc with Cad Bane and then
Yeah.
like how we kick off with this one. I watched both sets back to back. I was like, man, this is like legit Star Wars.
I'm going home and watching more Clone Wars, actually.
Me too.
Like, it's just so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and just like checking out the stuff that isn't on our watch list, I like seeing how they flesh out the story beats that are so integral to these arcs. I appreciate that aspect of it. And I just really, really like it. And I've had some adjustment, that I mentioned on this show. Piecing this in logically with everything else that I've known my entire life for Star Wars. But between these two arcs, I really do think it's finally just hit that, like, this is a pillar of what this series is.
Yeah.
And it's a cool pillar.
It is really cool.
So,
I'm just excited for the rest of it.
me too. So I would prefer to talk about the first 2 episodes more fondly, I guess, because
Yeah.
neither of us were too hot on the second 2 episodes.
I don't even really think they matter.
They don't. They're weird.
They're super weird. They don't really even matter.
I think,
Like, they're part of the arc, but they don't matter.
yeah, like, because we're chasing on the lesser guy, but
Poggle.
Thank you. But landing at Point Rain and Weapons Factory are just like killer.
They're so good. Also, we get an introduction. This is kind of skipping ahead, but we get an introduction to Barriss Offee.
Is that the apprentice
It's
of?
Luminar's apprentice.
Very cool.
I know that she has a wider role.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that, but I had a feeling. Like when they introduced her, I was like, okay,
Her and Ahsoka,
okay. We'll see where that goes. But
Not saying anything more.
okay. But yeah, I thought both of those episodes were fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
Just the military tactics alone.
yeah.
I also liked how they had to climb that wall.
Yeah.
That was good, like, camaraderie between Anakin and Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since she was like, I brought it up to you during my briefing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my briefing would go better if I was in charge of it.
Yeah.
I love their entire back and forth, and like I said, it's really selling me more on Anakin, and it got to a point in this arc where I was like, man, by the end of this show, I'm gonna really be upset about Anakin turning into Darth Vader.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy that this just so soon in, I'm feeling that way about a character I've just had this notion of forever.
This also did a good job sort of continuing to humanize the clones as well.
Yeah.
Because they're with them all steps of the way, and you can kind of tell that some of them are having their own doubts about what's
Definitely.
going on, especially the ones that are following Kiadi Mundi.
For sure, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So
Also, I thought Obi-Wan was dead, but then I was like, he shows up in the third movie.
and the fourth.
Yeah. True.
So yeah, that entire portion of this arc was great, and I really did like the end of the episode where they blow up the factory, because that's when Anakin and Ahsoka's bond and like the reason for that partnering just shines through. And what I mentioned earlier, why Obi-Wan thought it was a good idea, because Luminara like hones in on that. She's like, hey, part of this thing is being okay losing your apprentice.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Are you, dude?
And he's like, nope.
Yeah. Because that just builds into why he fell
Yeah.
in 3. And I like that a lot.
Totally. I also liked how it was an obvious difference between how Luminara treated her apprentice versus how Anakin treated his apprentice.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell, like, Luminara is probably pretty strict with Barriss.
Yeah, because just the way they speak with each other, too.
Yeah.
She's very proper talking to her. And then Ahsoka's just like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up?
And he's calling her snips and stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
That's pretty funny.
The latter 2 episodes of this arc, Legacy of Terror and Brain Invaders,
Not interesting.
we're suddenly in a zombie thing.
Yeah, Luminara goes out on, like, some mission. It's not really clear why. She tries to, like, go find Poggle the Lesser or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's to like weaken the morale of the Geonosians,
Yeah.
perhaps,
I don't know.
because they know this guy throws great parties in the arena. So if he's gone, like, guess we're just gonna live now,
Yeah.
not rebel.
But then she stumbles upon
The queen.
the queen of the Geonosians, who was who they didn't know existed. They
were
rumored
rumors.
to exist.
And I always like that, you know, when they
Sure.
do things like, oh, there's this speculation about this, and then it turns out to be real.
Yeah.
But yeah, this didn't work for me.
No, it was kind of boring, to be honest.
Yeah, I was in for these episodes to see like Anakin and Obi-Wan bounce off each other and stuff like that, but like, yeah, I just wasn't into it.
It's like a zombie plot.
It
Just like a
was.
weird zombie plot in the middle of.
Yeah, like with zombie bugs.
Yeah.
I was like, why are we doing this?
Also, I'm not sure if is it clear that the queen is dead.
No.
Just her like house fell on her.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the exact same thing. Like when we left off and at the end of this episode, I was like, she's coming back, right?
Is she dead?
They didn't show her die. They didn't show her scream or anything.
No.
But yeah, just a very strange arc, I guess, because like this is part of the arc. We are continuing where we left off when Ahsoka blew up the factory, but
because they're bringing Poggle the Lesser to Coruscant for trial, right?
so he runs away, so we got to find him.
Yeah.
But it just goes in a weird direction.
They find him though.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. They save Luminara.
Yeah, which I like her character because I was familiar with her appearance from like encyclopedias or whatever.
Yeah, she's in the live action ones.
Yeah, and I liked her relationship with Ahsoka in one of the first episodes we watched. So it's cool to see her get fleshed out a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, how you feel about this week's batch?
They're all right. Do we want to talk about the last episode at all?
I thought we did.
No.
With the zombie clones?
Yeah. And Kid Fisto? Come on.
Yeah, it's fun.
Kid Fisto.
Yeah, he's an octopus. It's fun.
He's not an octopus.
What is he?
I don't know. Don't ask me that question. Some merman.
And you
Not
think me
actually.
saying an octopus is too far separated from being a merman?
I don't know. He looks like a merman, kind of, right?
I guess.
With an octopus.
With an octopus head. Yeah, that's what matters, man. But yeah, this episode, I feel the same way about this one as I did the other one.
Me too.
It feels more in line with what we've been watching because we have more of the ship aesthetic, you know. It's not like weird underground tunnels the whole time.
Which is the one when Anakin chokes out Poggle the Lesser?
That was this one.
That was this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was that your highlight for the episode?
That was the highlight for the episode for me.
Anakin being edgy.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like the whole Darth Vader turning, like, he can't control his anger kind of thing.
Yeah. And on that point, I'll say I think the reason that Anakin's character is working with me so much is because they're showing hesitation.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they would.
No. I mean, they're really just rounding him out, I
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah, and I think where the prequels had pretty decent time jumps between each movie, we lose some of the development for like Anakin killing all the Tusken Raiders and then showing up and just being a good husband and then ends up killing everyone.
It really rounds it out.
It does for sure. So, like on paper, and from what Obi-Wan told us in A New Hope, tragic story.
On paper, definitely a tragic story, and honestly, with the Clone Wars,
We're gonna get there, I think.
Yeah, I think it shows that
For sure. Man, I'm really impressed with like how just his relationship with Ahsoka is making me feel more like, oh man.
I know.
So.
I'm gonna go home and watch more.
Me too. And I think that's gonna continue because next week we're doing another 6.
Nice. What are they called?
Season 2, episode 12, The Mandalore Plot.
Oh, so we're going to Mandalore, baby.
We're going to Mandalore.
We're going to Mandalore, baby.
Season 2, episode 13, Voyage of Temptation. Season 2, episode 14, Duchess of Mandalore.
So these are all Mandalore related.
At least the first 3 are.
Okay.
I don't know if the second 3 are, but they are still highlighted as being part of an arc. Season 2, episode 20.
Is there a line between them, though?
I don't know.
On Jack's thing?
There is.
Okay, so maybe they're separated.
Yeah, so 2 arcs next week.
All right.
Season 220, Death Trap. Season 221, R2 Come Home. Season 222, Lethal Takedown.
All right.
I want to bet with you.
Okay.
Is there going to be a song in R2 Come Home?
Gary.
Gary, now I know.
I don't even know how that song goes, but I remember it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the plan for next week, and we will tweet that before we record next week's episode, but that's a batch.
That is a batch.
So
that's the Clone Wars. That's it. That's the Clone Wars.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
So, Mike, if people would like to follow you online, if you're going to be maybe tweeting out more lore about your detailed Clone Wars viewing,
which I will not be. You can follow me at Mike P. Connors.
Very nice. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris and Buckley. The show, if you want to see what our schedule looks like for episodes, it's at Jedi Knights JC on Twitter. If you're watching us, you're on youtube.com/joyclicks, where you can see this show in video format, other videos posted frequently. If you're listening to us, it's perhaps on a podcast service like Spotify.
Or Apple Podcasts.
And if you are on Apple Podcasts,
give us a rating.
That'd be solid.
It does us a lot of good.
Very much good, Yoda says.
Are we just like trading lines now?
I guess.
Thanks for watching.
We're not ending it like that.
I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? Where can the people find you?
I already said that.
Oh, you already said that.
But that'll do it. Next week, episode 21. We got some stuff to do. So the road to Luminous is getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah. It's not next week, but the week after that, we will have a lengthy discussion.
Yeah, that's the day we record. So
yeah.
That's going to be that entire episode.
Do you think it's going to be later on in the day? Or do you think...
I bet that's a bright and early thing. I bet it's a press release, 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Maybe the old conference.
Maybe.
If you will.
So look forward to that, but until then, we're fine. Everything's fine.
May the Force be with you.
General Kenobi.